Welcome back. I got asked to talk a little bit about the Pancha Vayus, the 5 winds. Vayu means wind, Pancha means 5. And a friend and a fellow practitioner on the channel here was like, hey, can you talk about the Pancha Vayus? And I said, yes, I can. So we're going to talk about the 5 main winds. There are actually 10. There are 5 sub-vayus, but we won't get into those. We'll talk about the 5 main winds and the channels, or rather the directions in which prana flows, right? The Pancha Vayus refer to the directions that prana, the life force, flows in the body. And I think that it's important to start by considering the fact that there is a pattern, there is a certain way that life and energy flow, and there's, looking at it like there's a certain geometry to how things arrange themselves. This is what we see in nature, and so it's no different inside of us because we are, of course, nature. And I like to use the analogy when a baby is born, when there is a fetus, like I think it's called a zygote, when the sperm fertilizes the egg, right? So we have the masculine essence, which is the sperm, and then we have the feminine essence, which is the egg. When the two come together, there becomes one, the zygote, and that is how new life is created. And there's a whole symbolism to this and spiritual significance, which I won't get into because then we're talking about the archetypal forces of life, of the cosmos, Shiva and Shakti, the feminine and the masculine, the masculine and the feminine, respectively, Shiva Shakti principles. But let's get back to the topic. So the sperm and the egg come together, there's a zygote, and that is a single cell which then divides into 2 and then 4 to become the human body. That was how all of us got here. From one cell made of 2 opposites. Are you following me so far? And when that zygote starts to divide, the question that I ask is, what determines or tells, guides, maybe that's a better word, what guides the cell that needs to go up to make the head, and then the cell that needs to go down to make the base? Right? There's a guiding factor, because at first they're uniform, the cells are uniform, but then they differentiate to become the head and the tail. You see what I'm saying? The question is how, what's determining what goes up, what goes down, what goes out, what goes in. There's the point I'm getting to, or the point I'm making, is that there is some intelligence, there's some guiding force guiding those cells into where to go. And that is what we call the Pancha Vayus. There is an upward moving Vayu, an upward moving force or wind. There's a downward moving force. There's an outward moving force. There's an inward moving force. And then there's a circular moving force. And that's the basic distinction of the Pancha Vayus. Prana, Apana, I'm blanking on the other names. Prana, Apana, Udana, Udan Vayu, Samana Vayu, and then I can't remember the 5th name. Oh, okay. Well, I'll type it here for you. But there's 5. Up, down, out, in, around. And what we learn to do in the whole yoga practice, at least talking about Hatha Yoga specifically, and traditional Hatha Yoga, which is really the process of discovering how to work with the energy channels, the chakras, the kundalini, the nadi system. This is all what's built into Hatha Yoga. And the asanas that we do, the pranayamas that we do, the kriyas that we do are all designed to optimize the flow of the currents of that energy, which then optimizes health, and everything basically in our life is optimized, because once the energy is flowing in the good way inside of us, it's flowing between us and our environment in a good way. So those are cool things, to think about. And the reason that I am so fascinated by the path of yoga is because I'm really interested in feeling good. I'm interested in achieving health and balance and harmony and peace and all of these things. So I don't want to get too complicated or theoretical with this. I wanted just to share that analogy about the heads and the tails, the up and the down. But I do want to leave you with this idea that in Hatha Yoga, the way to unleash the evolutionary energy, which is known as the Kundalini, right? The Kundalini is the energy that is moving towards the source, and that's in us, right? There's a force in us that wants to become and wants to grow, and that's what we call Kundalini. It's moving away from fixation or conformity or the familiar, right? Like that's kind of the idea, is that when we move away from the familiar, we grow. Like we pursue, there's a pursuit of something unknown, and that's how growth happens. That energy is the Kundalini. When we let go of what we know, the energy expands. And that expansion of energy is the Kundalini. Well, in Hatha Yoga, the way to unleash that Kundalini, at least one of the ways, is the downward moving wind, the apana, A-P-A-N-A, apana, the downward moving wind joins forces with the prana, the upward moving wind. And so there's like a nuclear reaction when those two forces, because the apana is usually going down and the prana is usually going up. But when we reverse those two and they join together, there's like a, and then there's that release of the evolutionary force known as Kundalini. So I can share more about that maybe in future videos, but as an overall concept and overview of the Pancha Vayus, I feel like this is sufficient. So stick around if you want to see or hear more from me about all of the incredible sciences of yoga and tantra. And I'm going to get back to my practice and enjoying this beautiful sun. So thank you for tuning in. Remember to subscribe if this is helpful, and I'll see you all very soon. Peace.